Welcome to the Six Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Six Figure Author Experiment. What's going on, Lee?
We're still experimenting. It's great.
Yeah, man, I'm doing a big experiment right now, like a huge experiment, totally new format, totally new everything.
I love it. Tell me about your tarot deck.
Oh my, okay, so I've been working on a tarot deck for like 2 years. It's like not like this level of like it's almost done. I've been like, I want to do a tarot, but it's like $25,000, and I'm like, I don't know if I have an audience for like $25,000 to get the art for each. So like, you got to get art for 78 cards,
right?
Right. So if you're like, okay, times 300, that's like $20,000 to $30,000, and I was like, I don't $20,000 to $30,000 want to do this like project. I don't $20,000 to $30,000 plus then printing trust that I'm going to be able to make a tarot deck. But tarot has always been really important to our writer MBA community and the new capitalist community, as like it's like most people that are in our community have had some exposure to tarot, especially if you came to New Orleans, because like everyone there was like getting tarot readings and doing tarot readings. We even did like a group trip to like a tarot store, like a card store.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was there.
It was actually something I was thinking about you, or something you said like last week or the week before. And then I was like processing that I wanted to do a stuck deck, because I think like you or Renee has a stuck deck, like a card deck. Somebody.
Renee does, or Becca Syme definitely does.
Becca definitely does. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't do. And the stuck deck is mainly sayings, not like card. And I was like, okay, well, a stuck deck is sayings, and like an oracle deck is like a lot of sayings.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like maybe I could do like a stuck deck, oracle deck combo, or one or the other. And then I was thinking back to, I've been seeing a lot of like graphic deck, like tarot decks, where there's not, where it's like text, like sayings, or not art, not the kind of level of art that I think of, or we always think of with like a tarot deck. So I was like, I started like noodling around with it, and I was like, I wonder, I've written like a lot of books.
Yeah.
And I've talked, I trained an AI on like 2.9, my AI is trying to like 2.9 million words. So then I was like, okay, well, like, let's just see, can I get some quotes from my own book? There's got to be like 78 quotes from like my own thing.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
There's got to be like, I mean, even if you just blurt 2.9 million words out, probably a few hundred of them will mean something. You only need what, like 78 times like 5 or 6 words. You only need like 500 or 1,000 words to like be meaningful for like you to create an amazing deck. So I was like, this is a lot of work. Then I was like, but AI is very good at matching things. And so I got a list of all of the a bunch of quotes, and then I like ranked them 1 to 5. And I took all the 5s and I ranked them again 1 to 5. And then like I had like 100 or so at the end. And I was like, okay, so take what you know about tarot or these cards and like match them for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then then that happened, and I was like, okay, that was one half of it. The other half is Melissa Storm once said, I can never hit the trend unless I make the trend. And I like feel like I can never understand something unless I break it down and recreate something. So I was like, okay, I can't release a tarot deck, no matter how much I like tarot deck, without like understanding tarot on like a fundamental level. And like, I have tried so many times to understand tarot. It just like was gone in one ear, out the other. I just could not keep it in. But I started working saying, all right, So how do I create, like, let's assume this is business tarot or like capitalist tarot. How can I implement tarot in a way that like actually is designed for business diagnostics instead of just overlaid on business diagnostics? Like there's a lot of business oracle decks, but not like a business tarot deck that actually talks about how to do like a business and like how to diagnose things that are actually in your business. So I was like, okay, walk me through this AI. It's like how like I need to understand this thing because I refuse to release anything that I do not understand, that I do not use, I do not like use on a deep fundamental level, especially something that's as personal as tarot. And
Yeah.
so I went through the process of like, okay, like, are there any systems in tarot? And it turns out there are. Okay, there's like three main systems in tarot. There's like the major arcana.
Hmm.
Well, I guess there's four because there's also reversed and aligned, which in the Hapless Tarot is upright or revert, is upright or aligned or blocked.
Nice.
So like,
Yep.
and then there's the major arcana, which are shifts in your business, and uh, each one of them actually, if you take them all from 0 to 21 and divide and split them up in three parts, they represent a part of growing your business. So 0 to 6 is about the initiation phase. So we're talking about begin, the fool, agency, the magician,
Magician.
uh, detachment in the
Em-
high priestess,
High priestess.
values in the like setting your
Emperor.
values in the empress, and then setting your systems in the emperor, and then
Nice.
fluency in the hierophant, and 6 is the lovers. It's about alignment. So
Yeah.
basically you're going from like I am beginning this thing to having an aligned goal, and then you enter the construction phase, which is the chariot is clarity, and then endurance for strength,
Hmm.
and then reflection for the hermit,
Hmm.
positioning for the wheel of fortune, and then oh my god, ownership for oh my god, what is 11? I'm just going to keep going because I don't remember what 11.
I
But
don't
like
either, and I
right,
love the tarot. So
yeah, and then it's reframe with the hanged man, temperance, maybe no. Then it's
yeah,
reframe with
temperance and strength are in order. Sometimes they're flipped in some decks, I've noticed.
yeah.
So it might have been temperance.
I think actually temperance is sustainability. I have it literally right here. I can just look at it. I'm literally like looking
I
at it
love
right
it
now.
because
Justice. Justice is 11.
it's a shared language. Just
Right.
like if I say, "Oh, I'm a Capricorn," you know me, it's about the money, it's about the business, the grind. Don't mess with my money. And also, if we're friends, we start a project together. I'm like, we're
Right.
gonna start a business together, Russell. But if you're not into astrology, if you're like, oh, that's fake, that's fine. If you know enough about it to be like, oh, she's a Capricorn, that's what this means. It's still just a shared language. And the same with
Right.
tarot. You don't have to buy into Kabbalism. You don't have to buy into the esoteric symbols. They're there if you want to
Right.
dive in and kind of learn more of the language. But just the pictures, like the Hanged Man, and a couple lines of, this man is hanged, but he's just chilling upside down. He's not
Right.
in distress.
Right.
So you said it's a flipped perspective.
Right. Like a reframe your perspective.
Reframe, look at it from upside down, begin with the end in mind,
Right.
or invert it.
Right.
People used to say, oh, I want to beat the market. I want to beat the stock market. And then Vanguard said, oh, no, we'll just match the market. And they created a whole business out of that by
Right.
inverting
Right. Exactly.
the goal. Like, we're actually not going to try to do that. We're going to try to do just this basic thing. And we can do it really, really well. And it
Right.
makes our investors a lot of money. So I think it's just fun. It's art, which speaks to a part of you that's deeper than language.
Mm-hmm.
And my first tarot teacher, who's a friend I knew from a long time ago, they said, I read this like poetry.
Right.
And it's not about what the author intended. It's not about the actual poem words. It's about the feelings inside me
Right.
and what it's revealing and allowing me to examine about myself.
Right, exactly. And it's something that you can do to bring this as something that like any author can do, or
Right.
any author, especially like if they have a witchy tarot friendly part, is like there are probably quotes from your book that could be overlaid at least in an oracle deck, at least in a stuck deck. You don't have to create an entirely new system of like viewing tarot. Like I literally couldn't like it couldn't the minute that it like I was like, oh look, that's a system 1 to 10. They're the major blocks in each deck. Like, okay, like I want the minute that I was like, all right, I can tell you that Pentacles is about structure and like their major block is capacity. And they're about building. So like think about like the activeness of I'm like, okay, I can do this thing. But like if you're thinking of what are because I know we're running a Kickstarter in the near future.
Oh, yeah.
For a book the comic that I wrote for you. And if you're looking for like good, and we've been talking to a lot of people behind the scenes also who are like, how do you expand beyond the book? How do you get your stuff? And we think about movies, TV. Like we don't really think that much about what I think is the most important part of getting something beyond the book, which is the ritual of coming back to it and coming back to it again and again. So the things that have resonated with my own work have been surprising. It's been this poker chip has been one of the things. And it's because it says on the back, what's your next $100,000 opportunity? And people can rub it and people can come back to it and people can like, can like make it a part of their identity or use it to represent a piece of their identity.
It's an anchor. And I was actually thinking the other day, it's a talisman, but so is a degree. If you've ever walked in a doctor's office and she has her degrees hanging on her wall, that's a talisman. Does everything she do in the surgery room come from her education in med school? Absolutely not. It came from a decade of practice afterwards, of going to getting new certifications, of updating her, and also just working in the surgery room. But I think a degree hanging on the wall reminds people that they have a golden ticket to enter the room.
Right.
And we used to live in a permission-based society. Like there was no indie author. That road was very, very hard. Now we give ourselves permission, but if you need a talisman to give yourself permission, I literally told a friend of mine who took a job and she's managing graduates from Cornell and she's freaking out because she's like, they know more than me. And I'm thinking to myself, you're working in AI. No one knows more than you. Like no one knows anything. We're all figuring it out.
Right.
And she's trying to do stuff with like sustainability in AI. That app desperately needs some creative minds. And a degree in Cornell is not equipping you for that, other than it makes you believe. And maybe you did take a class with, one of the founders or the creators of the internet or something. And you feel like, well, he said this and that seemed very wise. And that's a mental model that I apply everywhere. Like you might have some mental models, but mostly you have this piece of paper that you're like, this is my ticket in.
Right.
And it isn't. It's your belief in it that is the ticket.
Absolutely. That's the be happy is belief. And like, which is the foundation of Hapitalist is you have to go through the mental, every one of the block areas comes with mental blocks you have to go over, whether it's project blocks, audience blocks, prioritization blocks, or income blocks. Like there are income blocks that are like, I need to redo my landing page to like up conversions. But like, if you don't get over the fact that like you have to reach out to people, you probably have to run ads, like all of these things, I tell people all the time, I say, do you have a problem with capitalism? Or do you have a problem with commerce underneath? Because every system of human civilization has some way to exchange a good for a service or a good for another good. And there's a way to be like the 3 ducks equal like 1 beaver or like whatever. Like they all have this idea of commerce. And if your problem is the exploitation of labor that like capitalists that was required to make capitalism exist, okay, great, amazing. Like we can create an infrastructure inside that like allows you to not do that thing, like pay people a fair wage and like not buy into any of these things. But if your problem is I am scared to put myself out there at all, and like I am scared of rejection at all,
Yeah.
then like it doesn't matter if you do all of the other things. Like this is a block. This is a mental block. Like this is something that is a mental, I don't know, obfuscation. Like you can get around this thing and be like, yeah, okay, there are legitimate problems with capitalism, but in order to be an indie author, it's like owning a cake shop or bake shop. It's like you have to be great at baking, but also you have to run a shop. And if you don't want to run a shop, then you have a hobby. If you don't want to bake, then you have a shop that can sell anything. But if you want to run a bake shop, then you have to somehow engage in commerce.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a great segue to what we're actually going to talk about today.
First, I was going to tell you what I'm working on and excited about, which is I'm doing guided meditations for authors because I didn't allow myself to be an author. I didn't give myself permission because if you think about school, it trains you out of giving yourself permission. It trains you in to asking for permission or sit down, shut up, take a test, and stifles your creativity. So I went to a hypnotherapist, and one guided meditation allowed me to become an author and create all this. So I have been recording them. I'm going to record another one this Sunday. And so you can Google Nap and Grow Rich, Lisa Vino. That's one of my meditations on YouTube. And I am going to try to remove ads once they let me. They won't let me right now. But as soon as I can remove ads from all the meditations, I will. And if you have an ad blocker, just listen to them as many times as possible. So I get enough credits to be able to monetize and then demonetize my meditation movies. But I'm so excited about offering them. I'm going to do one this weekend called Get Money Fast.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works is I just get you to a relaxed state. And then I tell your subconscious mind that you're very resourceful. You're a creative genius. You can do it. And I'm going to guide you past the problem to the solution and to the feeling of being in the solution where everything is solved. So, and that activates your reticular activating system and unleashes the brain's predictive ability, which is the brain's a predictive machine. So it goes, okay, well, if I am already a millionaire author, or I have, an award-winning book already written, or I have the ad running that's profitable, like, how do I feel? What state does that look like? That's your destination. I cue your subconscious mind to live in there. And then I tell your subconscious mind, you're going to figure this out. You're going to figure out a map to this destination because you're brilliant and you're going to come up with tons of solutions. And then the best one for you is the one you'll consciously choose. It's really wonderful. It's simple. It's basic business and life advice, which is focused on the solution, not the problem. And so many people talk about, well, I fell asleep with the problem on my mind and I woke up with the solution. And that's basically what I'm doing in the guided meditation. And it really is helpful for people. So I'd love you to check it out and share it with your friends. And you can sign up to the newsletter to be informed when I record them, because I'm just loving them recording them. So I'm going to do more.
Amazing. Awesome. I'm just going to kick what we're going to talk about to the curb because I got to talk more about this thing that you just said.
Let's do it. We'll do the next episode on the books we're reading.
Yes. So I think this is so important because you continue, we were going to talk about the books we're reading, and I just read this great book called The Courage to be Disliked. Mm-hmm. And the idea is people are going to dislike you anyway. So like, you.
Lean in. Yeah.
Like just let that happen.
Yeah.
But that's not the important part of what they talk about, because in the book they say mostly we are taught that we need to learn something to like be good enough. But like the mind flip that this book does is you were already a balloon. The problem is not that like you need to learn how to be a balloon. The problem is like you're not blown up. You're
Mm.
you're like stuck in a house. You reach a ceiling. Like there are all these blocks to like your ability to fly. But like you don't have to learn to be a balloon. Like
Nice. Yeah.
and I love that because I mean, to go back to this tarot, like, I'm just gonna, if you haven't seen it, you can go to happilist.com/tarot, but I'm gonna just share one of the cards. Cause like,
I don't see it.
I had a lot of like, feelings about whether, so you seeing this?
It says it's, oh, I see it. Yes.
Okay. So like, they're not Luca art. They don't look like Luca's art. It just says the creative life is a long game. Pace yourself like you want to keep playing. It's written in kind of um like sloppy marker handwriting. There's like five crude drawn cups,
They're
and
cute. It's Five of Cups. It makes
right,
sense.
that's what I'm saying is like, but like, in order to get to this point where people are like, oh, that's so cute. Like, if I had judged my own art taste
Right.
as like, can I, what right do I have to make my first tarot deck look like this? What right do I have my first tarot deck to have my own sayings on it? Like, what right do I have to like remake tarot in a business concept? Like you get to these things all the time, not just when like you're writing a book, but like what right do you have to try and get a movie? What right do you have to like write a tarot deck? Like
I didn't believe I could be an author.
right,
I
exactly.
was like, no one I know is creative. And
Right.
I really did want to talk about our conversation over Christmas break, where you said we both agreed it's hard to talk to people we know in real life versus you and I could talk for hours. And my husband loved the conversation. I think your wife was also really,
Yeah.
enjoying us talking about entrepreneurship. We were with Ennis Johnson, who's brilliant. And you said, I'm just trying to coach my sister to tell her you can do it. And she has a PhD. She has like the biggest permission slip that academia can give you. And she isn't giving herself permission to create a YouTube channel and educate people and maybe make her own sort of deck of cards with wise sayings about her zone of genius on them, right?
Right.
And you are. And you're going so much faster. You're iterating so much faster. I was reading about learning. It's like just shorten the feedback loop.
Right.
So if you can do something and then get data about it, but so many of us are like, well, the data says that I failed, so I should stop.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
just a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. That's why I freaking love the meditations I do. I'm working with creative geniuses. If you show up for me to do this guided meditation, I know you're brilliant.
Right.
And I believe it for you. And then I get you to a relaxed state. And then I tell you over and over, you're so brilliant. You've got this. And then we do fun stuff where we turn into wizards and fly and like shoot lasers out of our hands because it's a guided meditation. And I love fantasy romance, so I can do whatever I want. There's no romance. Don't worry about that. But there could be.
Between you and yourself, maybe.
Maybe. Yes, exactly. Unlocking your brilliance. And usually I have people call in like their favorite pet too. So like you're seeing yourself with your pet and you're feeling the love. So
Right.
you just spend 45 minutes feeling this love and joy. And I tell you over and over how brilliant you are. And then you wake up and you feel great and you feel awesome. And then I hope you listen to it every freaking day until you write your best-selling book, create your next business idea, shoot your shot.
Right. Yeah, this is so interesting because my wife just hired a new neuroplasticity coach.
Cool.
And she had a bunch of like she had her like list of people, and like the one that she was gonna go with didn't even have individual coaching, and it was like $5,000 for a year. And I was like, that's like you could hire $100 an hour coach
Six
for
times
literally every year,
a month. Yes.
yeah, every week of a month, and it would be all of that. And she's like, "Could I?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm going to go look." And I put together a list of places, and I found one. The website is called Yay Neuroplasticity, and it looks like a 1990s like
Yes.
or MySpace website. And it's so good. And it has, and I was like, I just put it on the list. And I was like, this is my favorite. I think you should hire this
Okay.
person.
Go
Uh,
check it out right after this call. I want
yeah,
a neuroplasticity coach. I mean, I already have, I am coaching with Bright Better Faster and it's been awesome, but I kind of want to do more coaching. So,
sure. Well, one of the things she says is like it's all the like we talk a lot about the autonomic nervous system, but like we also have to reset our limbic system because our limbic system is running on cortisol and it needs to run on endorphins. And the way you do that, again, I'm not on these calls, so like, and this is not even second. This is like Karen telling me and then me interpreting the thing.
yeah, I
But
get it.
the idea is that like you do that through play. So one of the visual meditations is like visualize your walk, visualize that you're sitting, not that necessarily that you're safe, just like that you're having fun, but you are your dog.
Oh,
Like,
I'm totally using this.
yeah, go do these. She's like, go and sketch with no like idea that you have to do anything. And like, I'm like, obviously, because this, my whole life is like making tarot cards and whatever other thing that I want to do. But like, most people aren't like that. So if you're not like that, um, it's, there's like a lot of, I mean, according to this person, like who's as much of a scientist as I can assume, like she's coaching these people is like based on the science of like, yeah, like your autonomic nervous system needs to be un 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 ticked, but also like your limbic system has to be unticked, and you do that through more like intentional play, intentional focus. Like we do a thing where we take a picture on every walk because Karen realized that she was looking down at her phone or down at the ground and not up. So like just look up and be like, wow, that's a cool tree. That's a cool, like look at that thing. And the more you do that, the more you present you are in the moment. Which I don't know if this is part of the neuroplasticity thing. This is just like a thing that I know.
That cues your system that you can relax.
Right.
So many business owners are working in hustle or literally the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight.
Hmm.
And so that's your nervous system's tone. Basically, you're in this state and it feels like I have to do this. I have to. Like there's this hustle, there's this intense feeling like of FOMO, basically. You can see it in
Right.
people's posts on Facebook. And unfortunately, when you're in that state, so often you add busy work that really doesn't get you forward. It doesn't move the needle, but you're busy and exhausted all the fucking time. And I'm speaking from experience and I'm doing intentional things to pull myself out of that state. Another state is freeze, which is when you have all that forward momentum, but then you tell yourself you can't. So I have to, but
Right.
I can't. I have to, but I can't. And you get stuck, but it requires an enormous amount of energy because you're basically pressing down the gas pedal while ripping up the emergency brake as hard as you can at the same time, burning out your engine, literally
Right.
burning out your energy reserves. And what we need to do is lie down and take a fucking nap
Yeah. I
or
mean,
tap or go for a walk. And that is basically natural EDMR or EM.
yeah.
What is it?
ASMR? I don't know what the thing
It's
is.
the eye movement thing, the
Oh,
left to
okay.
right eye movement thing. When you walk, it's naturally bilateral
Hmm. Sure.
eye movement, which cues your system that you're not running from a bear or at war.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the reason why I tell people that this should be under leverage is so that you can make dumb tarot cards and other things. Because if you do, like, okay, so you can't take the business thing is you can't take on good opportunities or great opportunities if you're stuck doing busy work and all of this other stuff. I was on our Capitalist Breakthrough session call a couple days ago, and someone was talking about their VA, and they were like, "I need to know." Well, she's like, "What do I give my VA?" And I was like, "Everything." And she's like, "I need to make it." It's like, "Nope, your VA should do that." Like, "Nope, you need to
Dude, can
like
I
if you,
just say, I asked in the Million Author Mastermind, like, what's the one place you're stuck that you wish you could get help as an author? And 99% of the answers were either mindset, they need to believe they can do it. I could just tell. But subset of that was delegating. So many people you could tell they're completely burnt out and they do not trust anyone. And it's a hyper individualist,
right,
eldest child syndrome, whatever you want to call it.
right. There's a lot of
They're,
four writers too. There's a
yeah,
lot of fours, Enneagram fours who are all
yeah.
individualists too.
Yes, I don't know the Enneagram as much. It's not my language yet, but yeah, if you're listening to this and you know Enneagram, you can probably cue to know like, oh, this is going to be an area. Becca Syme says just like get therapy. And
Yeah,
I agree. I did want to pop in to that group and start saying some things that I've learned about hiring and firing and delegating.
yeah,
But I really want to take people's hands and be like, listen, if you've ever ordered a cup of coffee or a meal at a restaurant and you didn't run back to the kitchen to make sure they did it right, you delegated it successfully.
right.
And
Yes,
sometimes the coffee's not that great, but sometimes it's amazing and you could not have made it. And that's what delegating should be.
right.
And do not tolerate the pain of delegating. You seek the pleasure of hiring someone and getting it done brilliantly and better than you could have. If you just refuse to tolerate, as I'm learning, just refuse to tolerate pain in that area and fire who you need to fire
Right.
and continue to iterate yourself until you find the right people.
Yeah, I would
It's like,
say,
yeah,
yeah, like to bring this back to tarot and capitalist tarot for a second. The Queen is about optimizations, and it's blocked by micromanaging, and the Pentacles are about structure and building structures. So, like, I would probably say if you all of you have a blocked Queen of Pentacles, upside down, reverse Queen of Pentacles at this because that is what actually, here's the thing that is so important for my work with tech people. This is not just us. This
right.
is anyone who has built a 0 to 1 company and gone from like 1 to 10, which is like zero to 1 million. Like once you hit one, like you
Yes.
need the idea is like I have been, and why I talk about quantum capitalism and like good chaos and capitalism so much because you have to you are so used to as a writer having so much control over the outcomes.
Right.
Like
Yes.
I write a book, I make money. I write a book every month, I make this money. And then what ends up happening over time is suddenly those you have less control of those outcomes. And so you start spinning your wheels more. You're like, oh, I'm not getting that same outcome. So I'm just going to do double, 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 double. And really, when you start making more money, the true unlock that I've found coaching tech people and CEOs is like you have to become more comfortable with the with determining the inputs and then letting the outputs happen. So like this is why when you're doing marketing, it's so important to think in a campaign. It's like if I do this group of 15 things,
Mhm.
$100,000 will come out. And I don't know where it's going to come from. For years, I've said, I have no idea where my money comes from. And people are like, this is dumb. This is the dumbest thing you've ever said. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, like, let's take one of your people and you tell me what ad they saw or what email they saw that made them buy. And
Yeah.
then tell me the marketing journey that they went on to get to that point. Go for it. Like any single person that's not like your mother or not that you were like, give me money.
You were shaking down readers in an alley, or it was your mom. Or, yeah, you have no control. And
Right.
you need to get comfortable with that. And it's hard. It's not necessarily either your natural state or it's not what you've been taught to do, or you're just so dysregulated that you need to get back into regulation so you can relax. And I bet that when I do busy work, or when I'm like, I'm so busy, 90% of it is stuff that isn't going to move the needle. And I really would be better off taking a walk or taking a nap. And I'm learning that. And my business is going really well because I've had this vision in my mind of me floating in the ocean, like dark water. So completely supported. I love the water. So not a, big, vast ocean, but not scary to me because this is just a visualization technique. And I just see myself floating. And I came across the Alan Watts quote that says, you don't fight the water because then you'll drown. You relax and float. And it was a message from my subconscious mind or God, if you will,
Right.
whatever higher power you want to invoke here. And it was telling me, focus on the end result. Begin with the end in mind. What you want is total freedom and total relaxation and to be totally supported. Okay, hold that feeling. And once again, I use this very esoteric visualization technique, but it gave my brain the cues it needed. And I have fired people in my business who were headaches.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And I got coaching beforehand and a little bit of therapy. And there were emotions involved, but I did it. And now I have less headaches. What does that mean? I have a clearer runway.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually,
space.
yeah. So then I can clearly hire someone else who can do the tasks.
Right.
And found them at a very great rate that I was very affordable, $5 an hour, people. And that's going great. So I removed a giant block, a giant headache that I dragged around for years. And I replaced it with someone who's going to do a lot of great work for me. And then I've hired someone else as a consultant who is running a multi-million-dollar author business. And they're going to teach me how to grow and expand and iterate on what I already have and just challenge the boundaries that I think are fixed, right? And none of that came from hustle. None of that came from work. It came from sitting down and going, what do I need to do? I really need to fire that person. And I've been avoiding it. And it's been very painful. But once I do it, I'm going to cry for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to listen to my self-talk. And my self-talk was, you're a shitty person. You're a piece of shit for hurting their feelings. And then I was like, that's just old self-talk. I'm not buying into that little voice. I'm going to go color K-pop Demon Hunters coloring books with my daughter. And that's what I did. And I've created so much space and opportunity. And I'm not wasting money anymore. In fact, I freed up a ton of money that I can just sit on, that I could just relax on. So I really challenge whoever's listening to this to look at where they can relax more, where their pain points are, and where they can go, I deserve better. And even if you can't do anything about it in the moment, just be like, I actually deserve better. And then listen to my guided meditation and get the end in mind and relax and get your subconscious involved so you can dream about the solutions as you sleep. It really does work, y'all.
How very internal family systems of you to be able to.
Know. You should listen to some of them. I just recorded one for just immediate friends called Fire Your Parents. Yeah. And like you talk to your younger parts. Yes, it's very internal family systems. I just throw everything in there. I kitchen sink it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will give you, because we're nearing the end of our time theoretically together. I've always been very good at delegating. Like even as a kid, my dad was like, you're very good at delegating. Like you're better at delegating than like most of the people in my MBA program.
Okay, Tom Sawyer.
And I have always found that while comic books don't tend to get done, my books always tended to get done. Like I very rarely have an artist who goes, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
And that has led to, so the question that I ask in every interview is, how good are you at extrapolating from known data? Which is, how good are you at taking what I give you and then having agency to go do the thing? It is like lots of people say they're good at that. So everyone's like, I'm really great at that. And then the question is like, what in there? So my assistant does shoe flipping, has a shoe flipping business in the Philippines. So like
Cool.
she runs a business herself. So I'm like, oh well, you probably have good agency. But
Right.
then I always like then will test with a thing that will not get done if I regardless. If like they don't do it, it literally won't get done. So like I had to, her first job with me was taking all of the fiction from my Capitalist Substack and putting it on the Wannabe Press Substack. Literally never would, I just never would have done it. I could be 50 years from now. I never would have, it just never would have done that thing. So like, what is that thing? And then, like, when they accomplish that goal, like, do not give them, like, you can loom them and tell them, like, the process to do the thing. But unless they actually ask questions, you just got to assume that they're doing it. And if they take too long, be like, what is the block here? And here's why. Because my assistant over break did a workbook for me, and she's done most of the workbooks at this point. And
Nice.
she gave it to me, and I looked at it and I was like, this is not good. And I was like, here's the thing. I don't care how many questions you ask to get better at this thing. But when you don't ask questions and then you deliver something that is looks like this,
Hmm.
it tells me that I need to worry about your taste. And whether you, so I don't care if you take 50 hours to do a thing. Like this task didn't need to be created like that week. So, like by having that recursive feedback loop for a year, and yes, my assistant did tell me when I sent her bonus, like she thought I was a mean gruff bear for like months before until she realized that like I wasn't like that because I just will tell her exactly what to do. And I told her, and I was like, no, you do good work. So you get, like, I'll have you around as long as you want, as long as you continue to do good work. And that includes, like, I used to test people, artists for pages, so to make sure they finished pages in the time frame I want. I used to do and like a comic book's not going to get done if I don't hire them. Like it's like nobody, like there's no world in which I'm going to draw Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. So like until I find the person who can do the thing, I just won't do it. So I think that when we hire people, often what happens is you're like, I have to micromanage every moment of what they do. I have to like be on top of all of their processes. And I actually think that if you hire that person who you have to be on top of their processes, this is why you hire bad people who don't give you any freedom. Like it is way better to do the opposite, especially if like they're like 5, 10, even $15 an hour. Like if you're able to hire a $15 an hour, like you're making decent money in your business. Like I'm gonna make an assumption that you do. So like we don't even know. So for the next week, if you want to be like, what do I even hire? For the next week, write down, Shell Honecker calls it a suck list.
Hmm.
I'm going to rename it to like a fuck list, which is stuff
So much better.
well, it's like, because a suck list is stuff you don't want to do. And so you can hire out. But what I want you to do is like, what are the things that you're like, fuck, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do it. Like, this is never going to happen. And you're like, I know I should do it, but I am never going to do it. It does not matter what you can do. If you have one of those projects and you hire somebody, even if you have to pay them a couple of $100s to do it halfway, like you are in a better place. So often it's like, you have to run my community. I'm like, that is where you run your whole business. You want your person you just hired 2 days ago to like be the front facing person in your business to answer comments and answer questions before they've even read your work. Like that is a terrible idea. You want them to scale your ads? Like they just started like yesterday. Like they don't know anything about your ads. So like if you instead say, okay, what are the things I will fucking never get done?
Hmm.
Then anything that happens in that project is a bonus.
Yeah.
And if you're like, let me see what you did after 10 hours, and you're like, oh, well, that's terrible. No, thank you. Thank you. Bye. Sometimes you have to do that, but you still then have probably gotten further ahead on this project you're never going to do. And maybe you're like, okay, I can now do this project, or like I can like take it the rest of the way there, or now it makes sense to finish it. So like we think about hiring like for a position, which I think is like you want them to take care of your community, but like what is the piece of that that
Yes.
isn't dependent on your business? Like it's like if
Yeah.
they don't do it, I have to step in.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit is best to delegate first. Some of the issue comes with, I took a whole course on how to delegate. So, because delegating actually does come naturally when you're a baby and then you get trained out of it. So you have to like reclaim. Actually, the Queen of Pentacles, I love that because she's kind of like the hearth witch. She's a pregnant mom, she's a pregnant person. Why? When you're pregnant, you're like, babe, I need you to do this. You can't move. You turn into a baby when you're pregnant. Like you get more and more like a baby because by the end you're like, just feed me and put me to bed. And then eventually this baby will come out and then I'll do all that for them. But yeah, when I was pregnant, I was great at delegating because I literally could not do it. And I think there is a delay where I was taught delegating is like, you're on a bicycle. You're going to get off the bicycle. You're going to stop and get off and get in a Ferrari. But during that stall out period, you feel like you're not moving and people can't take that. But if you were a multimillionaire business person, you would know that the Ferrari is going to be way better. So begin with the end in mind, right?
Mm.
Focus on the solution. Where do you want to be? You want to be more relaxed. You want to have more time. You want to have more freedom. You want to have more money. All of those things. And if you can't get there, take one of my guided meditations and I'll bring you there. But you're going to start from there and then you're going to figure out who to hire and just test it. Stop setting goals. Run 7-day experiments. Hey, new assistant, I'd like you to do this project. I'm never going to get around to it. Here are the parameters. Here is my idea of a timeline. I'm going to check in on Friday or 2 weeks from Friday and run the experiment. See how it goes. Try them out for a launch. If you hire, ideally you hire for all your personal stuff because it's so much easier to get someone to do your groceries, get someone to walk your dog if you need, clean your house, do your laundry. That's really low hanging fruit. And then bigger tasks like do ads, chunk it down to create graphics, monitor data, upload creatives for me, leave it in draft form. You can chunk it down and find different people who can do at least one of those tasks.
Right.
Because free up more time.
Yeah, because the thing is not hire an assistant to optimize your ads. It's really not. The question is like who can give you more space in your life? And like that comes from someone who like is high agency. And most people are not high agency or they're not high agency about the work that they do. I actually think everyone is high agency about something. And the goal is like, what are you high agency about? Like, well, how do we like connect these two together?
Yeah. Stay in your zone of genius, people. That's what we're trying to get to. Right. Anything that isn't a zone of genius so your homework is write down whenever you're in a state of flow, notice those times. What are you doing? What do you lose yourself in? What do you love to do? Write that down. That's your zone of genius. Everything else, you delegate.
Right.
Or it's just personal time, you know?
Yes. And the fuck list. Like,
yeah. And
like what is a project that you would never do, which somebody can understand? Like, look, you're never going to write that book about zebras. Like, don't hire them to write the book about zebras. They're never going to make a book you're never going to need them to write a book about zebras. But like because of how much I do Substack, having her set up and like manage a Substack and get it all right is like a very important task that like now she can do without me. But like, I was never going to do that task. So like, maybe it is, I don't know, like put all of your creative in a Dropbox folder or something. I don't know what that thing is, but like it should resemble a thing you want them to take on, but not be the thing. But like let them, it should be a project that they need agency for, because we so often are like, I want to write books. And it's like, dude, this year you want to write books. I did not think I would want time to write a tarot deck 5 years ago, but what I wanted was like the space to do whatever I want. And the
Yes.
journey is like, oh,
Yes.
this is like literally had no tarot deck last Thursday. I talked to you today and I'm like, oh, mostly done creating all of this stuff for it. So, that is the assignment. Your what is in your zone of genius, and then what is the thing that you can hire someone for that will test if they have high agency, not if they can upload all of your soup recipes, but like, can you say, upload these recipes and then like check in on it and be like, oh, you didn't completely screw that up. That actually looks right. So like, it's a knowable thing, you know.
Right.
It's like she may not, like someone may not be able to like outreach to like other podcast hosts. Like I would not expect someone to know that, but like I would expect them to be able to research a list of podcast hosts and like maybe like put together their thoughts on what they do and why it's a good fit. Like that's a knowable, like somebody could actually do that task and it would be helpful, but we, Lee and Russell, are never going to do that task ever. There's zero chance, but probably one of our assistants could do that task if we ask them, or more likely, like it just never gets done. And that's okay too. But like that is the perfect kind of assistant level task. So being respectful of both of our times, like that is our time, Lee. Go look
we did tarot, guided meditations, delegating.
Yeah, and chaos.
I think that's it. That's your podcast episode. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Amazing. Go get Lee's meditations on YouTube. Go to happiness.com. I just did a brand new workflow and I'm very proud of it. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to sixfigureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.